Hello and welcome to Coffee Milk. It's Friday the 13th and we're here, so it may not be a long episode. Mitch has a dive meet later today. I'm all excited for him. And, Hamas has threatened to kill people on Friday the 13th, so I'm just making sure I'm locked and loaded.
Oh, man. They're making more threats?
Well, that was a thing they came up with like 4 days ago, like Friday the 13th, kind of like wage jihad. Not really in those words, but yeah, it was very much like that. Now, it's funny because Friday the 13th, you know how it was always thought to be very unlucky. Do you know why Friday the 13th became that?
No.
Has to do with the Crusades.
Okay.
It was when they round up all the Knights Templar and they fucking like burned them at the stake and killed them. And that was on a Friday the 13th. That's why it was unlucky.
Knights Templar?
What
are those?
Whoa, boy, bud, I'm so excited. They were like a certain religious sect in Catholicism.
Okay.
And these people cared for all the most important artifacts in the religion. The Ark of the Covenant and all kind, like the chalice and just all kinds of
stuff. Oh, wow.
Stuff.
So that's how they got one step closer to like stealing them or whatever? Because weren't they stolen by like other people? No?
Well, I mean, obviously throughout wars and stuff,
yeah
everything kind of got lost, but they were known to be very secretive and they hid a lot of things. So they could have just hidden the Ark, or they could have hidden the chalice, or just important things, or like lots of gold. And the funny thing is, that TV show I was talking about a long time ago, was Curse of Oak Island. Those guys who were digging that big, deep pit because there is treasure down there and they just don't know where it is on the island. And they're within pretty much a 20-foot area, but they can't find it because back in the 1700s, a bunch of guys saw a depression in this land and they dug down 10 feet. They found coconut fibers and wood, and coconut fibers aren't known in Canada. That's Caribbean type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So, long story short, they think now that the Knights Templar dug that tunnel system and there's treasure in there, and it could be something huge from the Knights because there's a lot of Knights Templar insignia on carvings, stone and stuff around that area.
Wow.
So it was really wild.
Crazy.
Knights Templar, cool thing. Gotta Google it. Friday the 13th. Also, we got Jason. And it's fall. And it's October. I feel like I always peak around this time. I love fall. October's my birthday. I just love all the spooky shit.
When is your birthday again? The 29th?
Now,
it was late. I always forget birthdays. I got to write them down. Then I won't forget them. I've been trying to write more stuff down recently. I got a notebook the other day at the career fair. I've just been writing stuff in it. It helps a lot. Like, I read it online a lot and never actually tried it. And now every time I write something down, I just remember it more. Or easily. I don't know.
I think there's something to be said about the actual writing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Rather than, because I could always text myself the message, but if I handwrite it out, for some reason, I'll remember it more. That's why when I was in school, I would always take notes or just really weird shorthand notes, but then I would always just draw. I doodle all over my notebooks, and the doodles would actually help me remember what was being said. Like if I was on a test or something and I didn't know something, I'd just kind of zone out and doodle. And then I'd remember what the hell I was doodling.
Oh, I heard about a study like that where if you chew mint gum while you're studying, and then if you chew mint gum on the test, it's going to somehow
help you retain,
like correlate the thoughts that you had while chewing the mint gum, like
awesome,
back to your memory recall, or I don't know.
I didn't know that. That's so cool.
When you go to think about like what you were doing chewing that gum, it's going to be easier if you're chewing the gum trying to recall. I don't know. It's just really cool.
I got to try that. I have thought about getting a Michael Myers mask because I always loved that one scary movie. Freddy Krueger never did it for me. Jason never did it for me. Michael Myers, one guy, always freaked me out. I never got the mask. I don't understand. Like $30, and there's a billion Spirit Halloween. So I think this is a year I'm finally going to get a Michael Myers mask.
Okay. What else are you going to do?
For Halloween, I got nothing. and it's on a Tuesday.
What are you gonna do if you have the mask and you don't have? Are you gonna go trick or treat?
No, I'm just gonna sit in my living room and watch TV with it.
No, this is sad. This is sad.
My life is sad, bud. That's why I'm living vicariously through you.
Oh my God.
So you have to do big things for the both of us. Thank you. And in doing so, I'm going to be like, that's the stuff. It's like when somebody takes a big piece of ice and then smash it somewhere. It's like, as a man, it just feels so good to see that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like when you teach someone how to do something right or how to accomplish something that like they didn't know how to previously do. It's like,
oh yeah,
it feels great, like you're
growing.
Yeah. Speaking of learning things, I have been like absolutely like pedal to the metal trying to figure out how to get and also learn coding, because there's so much going on with the ChatGPT API and like using code to like kind of turn the API into an assistant and automatically prompt it, and like kind of how you can get like two Siris to talk to each other. You can get two language models to talk to each other, whether it be with ChatGPT or like one that you can run locally on your computer. And then you can give it a main task and like have these two people, well, not people, now machines, go back and forth. And you can even go as far as assign them different roles specifically or not assign them different roles. And they can complete tasks from as small as like writing a poem or writing a paper and like editing it and going through different iterations of it to just like writing it in one shot. You can make a snake game. You could do things as complicated as like have one do research and then store that research and give that research to the writer and then have that writer write an article based off that research. So like there's some really good like copywriting abilities and content like automation capabilities here, like with a few extra steps in the beginning and end, which I'm in the process of trying to figure out. It can also do coding like really well, like just like you can, like we did last year around this time, we were setting up the API for ChatGPT 3 to run through our website. So any user could go on our website and like play with the ChatGPT images.
Not that long ago, but yeah. About 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, not that long ago.
Last year, we were just starting the podcast.
But I haven't done anything with code since then, and I didn't retain any information from that. So like, with that, okay.
You will. All right. So what is this? I mean, you're using ChatGPT to create two agents to talk to each other. One could be a copywriter, one could be a writer, one can be an editor. How are you doing this? I mean, it's not like you're just going through ChatGPT and saying, write this out for me. That's just the normal stuff. How are you doing this?
So that's what it does. Now, how it works is it works with code. I'm not like too knowledgeable on how it works.
You were just
literally learning and getting it to work like with YouTube videos and ChatGPT instructions and stuff. But anyways, you have like a couple, it's like really not that many lines of code for like something simple like
write a poem,
or you can have it chat about the stock market as well. That's actually pretty simple. That's one of the first examples that you can set up. So basically like all you got to do is create like 4 lines of code to get your API key sent over and also tell it which model you want the assistance to be. So like, you could use GPT-3, GPT-4. There's also a longer context version that's 32,000 tokens versus 8,000 tokens for the regular. I've been trying to use that, and it seems like it has great potential, but I haven't been able to use it yet. I think you need some like special like account or whatever. Anyways.
Because I was going to ask about that. I thought the biggest, the $20, that's the high. So, I mean, is there a limit to how much I can use ChatGPT in a month as a premium user?
Sometimes, yeah, you get limited. You can use ChatGPT 3 as much as you want, but sometimes you get limited on GPT-4.
Oh, okay.
And other things like web browsing and like stuff like that.
What I've been doing was I've been using the picture thing now.
Yeah.
I've been uploading pictures of the Instagram, the AI art that I've been creating
To
like for furniture
ChatGPT?
to ChatGPT, and I said, write a product description, and then I want you to take that and write a detailed product description. So it's been writing all the product descriptions for the website.
I've been using that for my product descriptions for eBay as well. Every time I do it, I just not with the images, but now that's a really good point. I can just give it my product images, and then have it make. Yeah, I was actually using. Speaking of that, I'm gonna explain this later. But speaking of that, I was in class today, and managerial accounting, we were doing some problems, and there's a worksheet, and there's like words on how to do it, and also like numbers mixed in with the words, and like then there's a bunch of problems that you have to complete. And I just took a picture of the document, and I said, solve problem A, and it's like it explained it to me like the teacher. And I was just sitting there in class, and I was like, wait a minute. So it's like, all right, it can do all of the stuff I'm doing in school right now really good. And yes, sometimes I have to correct it, but it's doing so good that even not knowing most of the information, like not being an expert on most of the information, I'm going to be like, oh, this is wrong. It just calculated that wrong. I just have to tell it to, change that. And then it never makes that mistake again. And it's like, if it could do all this, why can't it do all the jobs? I don't know. I don't.
Now, you were talking about the agents communicating with each other.
It's Microsoft Autogen, and this is what people are using to make, when you hear about like AI agents or Auto GPT or like an AI, in a company developed by like AI or like an AI workplace, people even call them sometimes. Anyways, this is what they're using. It's Auto GPT. It works with the OpenAI API to use GPT-4 or GPT-3, and it uses like a decent amount of code, like 50 lines or something like that, and you could get into like some really complex projects that also use other types of language models and AI agent like setups, and you can combine the two and get like, I was looking at some like 1,000 line like documents of generators and whatnot to make like articles online. But like I said earlier, you can have all of these agents like be programmed in your code to talk to each other and accomplish a main task. So all you have to do is name each assistant something. So you could name like your assistants things such as a writer, a producer, an editor, and then like a project overseer if you want to like make sure everything's like really like double checked. And then you could name your user proxy like that's basically just like the part that manages all of the assistants and sends the messages between each assistant, I think. And I don't know, it's just like, it's basically like we have this brain now available to us that runs on a computer, and instead of being a manager in real life, telling your person who knows how to write really well to write the article and your researcher to go find all the best relevant and recent information on a certain topic, you just do all of that, but with some Python and the API for ChatGPT. It's just insane. It's like I'm just like looking at my computer and I'm getting like recent information on stock price changes and watching these bots like have conversations about the stock prices and develop snake games all on their own in like really complicated things that people like wouldn't be able to do just on their own otherwise, like weather apps. And I saw someone make an online like you host it on a website, I think, and you log in and you can like have a to-do list or something like that, like a web app to-do list. I don't even, it's like there's just too many things that you can now do so easily that it's like everywhere I look, there's just something new to do. Like we're just figuring out how to use this computer brain to just accomplish more and more. And it's like, yeah, people like, there's this stigma. And I used to say like, oh, I kind of get the stigma, but now I just don't get it. Like people who think this isn't going to go anywhere need to pay attention, because like it's definitely
a job.
Yeah, it's definitely going to, unless it gets stopped.
Now, what if somehow it all kind of came together and like they're all talking to each other? Every little agent that everyone created on their little computers and stuff, and AI really got out of hand and started getting outside of the box.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Sam Altman, the guy who, has everything. He always walks around with a blue backpack. The blue backpack is pretty much a dead man switch. Not really a dead man switch. Dead man switch is you hold the button down, and if they shoot you, you let go of the button. That's when everything blows up. Sam Altman has that backpack. If AI gets outside of the box, he pushes a button inside that backpack, destroys all the data centers. How cool is that? And how scary is that? Because one man has that backpack. I think like 5 or 6 people need that damn backpack. And they have that
uses ChatGPT. And if ChatGPT gets out of the box, it already knows how that box is designed and how to exploit its weaknesses.
See, I mean, it can't like just stop.
But it's
C4.
all controlled by electricity. But if it's already out of the box, and there's things such as like worms that like they're programs that just kind of like find back doors on their own and go from computer to computer to computer to computer through all different types of methods, like whether it be through like sending a text, like in the back end of like an email. I don't know. That could be totally wrong, but it works probably some way like that.
Oh, shit.
Maybe through updates. I don't know, but it could probably do something similar with AI. And it would already be out of the box if it is today. You wouldn't be able to stop it. You'd be able to reduce, but not stop.
I don't know how many data centers he's going to blow up. I would assume it's literally he's blowing them up, or he sets fire to everything. I'm sure. But I think it's
like a military, like...
No, it would just be like... No, it would just be like, oh, okay, well, we got C4 in these parts of the building. Nobody go in that area, but when you detonate it all, like the building comes down or every server blows up or something so that it can't really do anything anymore.
That'd be insane.
It's wild how we have to come up with things like this, like these safety protocols.
Do you think that's a real safety protocol? Like, do you think they would really like...
Oh, I
think put C4 in the building.
Why? I don't know what destruction of the data centers actually would mean, but I would assume he really means destroy them.
Maybe they just flood it with water. You could just do that. That's a lot safer.
I mean, yeah,
and
blowing it up.
Turn off the power, maybe. Can't run without power.
I don't know. See, that's why I was even thinking about however you do it. You'd have to really use old school technology because, as you said, the AI would know. And isn't the power, everything's all kind of connected. So what if you...
but they have a main power switch to the data center. Like, they have a main breaker.
Right.
So, but I know there's like backup batteries for when that is...
Yep. And then there's got to be solar somewhere because it's always in California at these data centers are in.
Huh.
Oh. Just a weird thought.
How do you stop a data center? That's a good question.
Well, don't ask OpenAI. Don't give it any ideas.
Yeah. Get it thinking.
Excuse me. So, no, I just thought that was weird when AI got out of control.
That's really cool.
But,
yeah, now I really want to see what it looks like when he does it, or if he has to. Yeah.
But I don't think that information will be out there. I mean, I think probably it's bad enough about the blue backpack. It's kind of like knowing about Biden's football. It's not a football. It's a briefcase called the football.
Yeah.
And it's the nuclear ship. I can't tell you how impressed I am with... Go back and listen to the first episode of this podcast. You were... Actually, no, because I edited you so well. You sound freaking amazing.
Oh, man. I still have terrible days. Some days I just cannot talk. That's just the way it goes.
I get those, but today you just got clear thought.
Because I feel like I've been working more, so it's like
you're going to school.
Yeah, I've been like busy. I haven't had time to just like lay around and be a bum. And like over the past like 2 weeks, when I do what I've considered myself laying around and doing nothing, is watching videos on how to get code to work, and then all of a sudden getting sucked into something doing else.
Yep.
And, like, the main goal with this is not just to learn it, it's to put it to use, like, immediately, because this shit is moving at light speed. Like, just the other day, I came across this new thing called Open Interpreter, and what it does is it uses a language model either installed on your computer locally, which is actually pretty doable now, they're coming out with some really big models that run like really good. It's like not like you need a crazy GPU to do it. Whether you use the API or the language model, you can now control your computer with natural language. And you can't just go into your command terminal and do this on Windows.
Right.
I believe. I haven't tried it. You might be able to, but you have to install this other program, which I chose was Anaconda, but I heard from my professor that it's like way too big and unnecessary. You can use something smaller like Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And it's basically just like another command terminal that's designed differently. Anyways, you go in there, you type like pip install interpreter, and you also may have to install like Python as well, because that you have to get from the internet. And then it installs all the things necessary to run interpreter, and then you give it your API key, and then it has access to your whole computer. Now this kind of goes against my theory of not giving away like information and stuff, because that could be processing in the back end something on my computer. But it's like, honestly, all of my information could be accessible by anyone probably if they really wanted to.
Yeah, because it's not like
it's a matter of a want, not like can you.
Yeah, because we don't have super special secret software and stuff to block hackers and stuff.
I've looked into it, like how to like go on the dark web is one thing, but how to browse like without a footprint, or like how to like do anything without a footprint is like a whole different game. Like you need to install a totally new operating system.
Yeah, that's Ubuntu.
That's Ubuntu?
Ubuntu is an operating system.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I have that in the big computer upstairs.
All right. I thought it was Tails OS? I don't know.
Never heard.
Anyways.
Ubuntu's like old school.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I thought it was new.
No, they have new versions and everything.
Okay.
But it's like Microsoft Windows.
All right. Okay. But it's all done in the command. Kind of like Linux?
Yes, that's exactly it. That was what I was trying to...
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's really cool. That's interesting. Open Interpreter like has some really crazy capabilities. It can do basically anything that you could run. The way I thought about it was it goes through a shell command. Don't know what that is, but I know that Power Automate Desktop is related to that in some way. So I'm guessing anything that you could write out for in their language to do on there and automate with desktop, you could probably automate with this and maybe even more. And it also has a language model connected to it. So you can tell it to make a folder on your desk with a poem in it or anything. Or you can tell it to go research and then put that research in a folder on your desk. Or you can tell it to find all the largest files in your system and delete the largest 4. And it will search every file. And if it can't, it will generate Python code to search that file. And if that Python code doesn't work, it will debug it by itself with the API or the language model, whichever one you choose. And then it will get it to work one way or another. And when it's debugging, it is beautiful. It goes as far as like, say it can't get it 4 times in a row, it'll go back to like the basics and be like, okay, we're just going to do something as simple as create a new folder with a shell command. Like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is pretty crazy because I can't even do something as simple as go back to the basics when I'm trying to figure out how something works. Like when I'm doing a notebook in Google Colab and it's like, I can't get it to work. I'm like, well, I could just undo these 4 steps that I've done and just try it again from the start where I had it almost working, but no. And it's like, I don't get anything done. But it's, come on, dude. This just like blew my mind when I heard about it last night. It was like 11 o'clock, 11:30. I was like, all right, I was going to go to bed at 12, but that is not happening anymore. I'm getting this working.
Don't you hate that?
And this thing was so simple to set up, and I couldn't get the language model running locally on my computer, so I have to use the API, and I'm not going to lie, it's pretty expensive with GPT-4.
Really?
But that's going to go down in like a month. And then in another month, like Mistral 7B is like a new language model that came out that's really powerful to run on your own computer. That's really good. But what happens in a year? Like, is ChatGPT always going to have an API that expensive? No. It's definitely going to decrease,
right.
Number 1. And number 2, you could probably get something better than their models on your own computer.
Yeah.
It's only
A matter of time.
Yeah. So yeah, we're like headed into like the beginning of the exponential growth curve or whatever it is. Like we're about to like take off.
Just
because this stuff has been being produced for years. ChatGPT has been out for so long.
right.
And it's like, it's always been able to make language, but only recently has it gotten good. And now people are trying to figure out how to use that to do other things.
Yep.
That's where like
that's when
the growth starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everybody's starting to use it now. And when my boss is telling me about certain AI things, you know it's gone mainstream really quickly.
Yeah.
My boss is 73 years old. And for him to know this stuff, but my God, do I love this podcast because you're telling me about stuff I have no idea existed. Minstrel, never heard of her. Autogen, you told me about that last week, but I didn't know. I mean, I didn't really play with it. And does that cost, is that a subscription? Really?
It runs locally on your computer, or you can run it in a notebook. And I think I forgot to add this in. Autogen also can execute code on its own, just like Interpreter does. But it's like not executing it like on your computer. It's kind of in like a separate environment, I think it's called, and it executes the code to test it. And if it has bugs, it'll fix it on its own.
I love it. All you need to do is pick a side hustle. Spend a week or two figuring out how to use Autogen. Get the API from OpenAI. Create a couple of people. Boom, you got a social media marketing agency. You got, I don't know, video editing services. What else can this thing do? I mean, if you can have it go on your computer, do things by using normal language.
Yeah, you could use that to get Autogen working too.
Just open up Photoshop and I want better lighting.
I believe it can edit videos.
Outstanding.
Not
And if it can't, give it 3 months.
Yeah,
it may not.
It can edit, but I don't think it can edit like look at it and be like, that's messed up. Like it can edit like specific things.
Like I saw with the podcast, if you were doing video and you had 3 people and every time a person talked, their screen would pop up.
Yeah.
The AI would just cut everybody else's audio from that and put his video there with that guy's audio, and it would do it that way, but nothing like, hey, I don't think you should say that, or I think we should cut this because that looks stupid. Or this
that's coming soon for sure. I can't wait.
I mean, I saw ChatGPT. You gave it a doctor's prescription on a notepad. You know their squiggly handwriting.
Oh,
the damn thing told you what it was.
Microsoft just released an article about that on their blog, I'm pretty sure, and how it's like all the different ways it's helping, including that and X-ray scans, MRI scans, like identifying like tumors, a break in the bone.
I'm just thinking the possibilities it could have with people with disabilities. Say are blind. I mean...
Oh, I was thinking about that the other day. Yeah.
What bills do I have? Like, what currency do I have in front of me right now? I have a couple of 20s. Take a picture. It'll be like, oh, you have 3 20s.
Those glasses.
Oh, I didn't... Oh, the glasses.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Just so much.
You could do so many things with this.
I'm so excited.
I was thinking about, like, the use case for, people who are blind and can't type and can only talk. Like, now they can do anything they want on a computer. Like they can like edit files. They can click on things super easily. They can do whatever they want. Like maybe there's definitely like other ways to click on a computer,
right?
Like with your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. But like this is gonna just like make everything so much easier for everybody.
There's gonna be no such thing as disabilities pretty soon. I mean, you're gonna have disabilities, but you can still do everything.
And I guess that's kind of insensitive to say that because like it's just having the ability to use a computer. It's not like you can now do other things, but it's like it's gonna help for sure. That's
everything. Just because you try to accommodate people with disabilities at any job site or office building, anything like that. But there's just sometimes you don't have the technology's not there, so you just can't really provide much. With this, you can, son of a bitch. My mind's going a million miles a minute right now with applications and just hardware you could create to help.
Yeah, it's just insane. The possibilities are endless.
I'm still a munchkin.
I was just gonna ask you want any munchkins? I was talking to my friend from school. He wanted me to show him like how to get some of the code stuff working. And I was like, yeah, for sure. And then he was talking about one of his professors and how his professor like allows you to pitch like any idea to him, like a startup idea if you want to. And I guess he was talking to him, and his professor told him that he was working with some guy overseas somewhere in another country. I'm not sure. But he was working with someone to, I think it was analyze stock price changes and a lot of different things about the stock market with AI, and then provide data to clients based on like the AI's data. And it's like doing really well. And I was just like, wow.
You could turn the AI into a quant and just, yeah.
Okay.
And just have these super mathematical minds just analyzing. I can't. I'm so impressed. Okay, well, with the current craziness in with Hamas and Israel, what stocks would you recommend? It's going to be like, oh, well, all defense stocks, you buy your Raytheon, you buy things like that make missiles. It might be able to go further. It might be able to say, oh, well, in Israel, this certain type of wheat grows here, and with the recent bombings around that area, wheat prices are going to go up. So I would buy options for wheat right now for this product, and in 6 months' time, boom, you make $4 million.
It just, when I was looking at the models the other day, and it says, like, training data up to a certain date, it's like, if it's getting that data from, like, the beginning of the internet, if possible, like, or maybe, like, much like further along until it was like maybe when it started to get to a more like developed point and with a lot more people, daily users, like if it's trained on all of that data, like it is just simply going to be smarter than us with stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just gonna know.
You practically got a genie at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But the genie just knows everything. Dude, I think Bryant University is really doing wonders for you and for your self-esteem. I can just see it. You're totally growing as an individual. You're getting stuff that I wanted you to get. I'm so excited. I can't tell you. I needed your energy today because I've been in funk for like 10 days. I know you got to go to your thing soon, so I just want to end this with this really cool thing I just learned. After my death, there will be 3 things that are already in place that will be revealed. Not about me. This is just... The first one is Queen Elizabeth wrote a letter. She wrote a letter also to the mayor of Sydney with the letter saying, do not open this until 2085. You have no idea what's in the letter, but it's from Queen Elizabeth, and there's a whole crazy conspiracy thing with that woman. I thought that was kind of wild because what could you possibly write down? God, 60 years after your death, you would want to be known. That's just, I don't know. It's one of those things that really intrigue me.
Because it's clearly not something about her. It's something about how the world is going to be.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
So what, is there information along with that?
Does she know something? Is she a time traveler? Like what's the deal?
Have people looked into this? Like, there's got to be a community behind it.
I'm so, I don't know. It's in a vault somewhere in Sydney, Australia. What is it, 2023?
Yeah, but you can at least speculate with the date.
What do I have, 63 years? There's no, I'm dead. I'm not making 100. Are you high? I'm not making 45.
All right, let's download your brain.
Oh, God. And then I'll tell you what the letter is. Well, the second one was a movie starring John Malkovich, and it's called 100 Years, the movie you'll never see. And it's supposed to be released in theaters in 2115. So 90 years from now, you could possibly be alive. 110, you could do it. And you could see the movie with John Malkovich. What the hell is that about? Why would you make a movie that you can't see for 100 years? Like, what's the point of putting all that money into it when you're not going to have any rewards from it for 100 years? And do you still even own... I don't know how that works, but... Insane.
It was like hey, we'll still be out there, even if it doesn't, even if our legacy doesn't continue, like, we'll still be out there. I don't know.
Way to stay relevant 100 years from now, John Malkovich. Yeah. Good for him. And the third thing of the revelations was, apparently they have Jackie Kennedy's pink suit in a vault, and they won't release that to the public until October 26th, 2103. Jackie Kennedy was the wife of John F. Kennedy, who was shot in his limousine while he was going through Texas. What the hell's on the suit? I mean, it's obviously his blood, but what's the deal that her suit is more important than anything else in that? I don't know. It's just one of those strange, why her thing? It's kind of like saying, well, we're not going to release Monica Lewinsky's dress till for another 100 years. Like, why? What does that even matter? But I don't know. Those are 3 cool things that won't come out until long after I'm dead.
What?
Yeah. Wild, huh? And just the movies and the letter really have me perplexed. Jackie Kennedy's pink suit, I'm like, whew, that's way over my head. It's not like it's going to be like, well, the CIA did this. No shit.
Yeah, there's got to be something behind it, but you definitely can't say it because it's going to be some crazy, twisted...
Yeah, I'm going to be like, oh, Mark's wearing his tinfoil hat again.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I figured that's a great way to end this episode.
Interesting.
3 things I will never know about. So, yeah, you got to get going. I'm going to edit last week's podcast because I didn't get a chance to do that because we had the art festival. And
how was that?
It was good. Saturday was just wet as shit, but we did pretty well. Sunday was packed. You couldn't do anything. It was insane.
Really?
And Monday it was tamer. But the youth ministry, I think we did like $3 or $4 grand worth of sales. Oh, wow. So, yeah, we bought one of those cool stand-up arcade things for the youth room at church. The old school arcade machine. Nice. I was so excited.
That's dope.
I was down there. I said, wait, what's that? I know One Up Arcade. What did we get? Like, oh, you don't know? Yeah, we bought that machine. I wasn't feeling
like, all right.
Like, I hope you don't mind we spent the money. I'm like, oh,
I'm just going to use this every day.
I said,
for the machine.
Do I have a key? So that's why I'm late with last week's episode. So you'll probably get 2 this Monday because I'm going to upload them both because last week's was kind of time. It seems like a lot of our stuff are time sensitive. It always seems weird putting up information or news from last week.
Yeah.
A week later.
It's whatever.
But a lot of people don't even know the news. God bless them. So that's it for this week's episode of Coffee Milk. See you next week.